This is Minutia Men with Rick and Dave.
So you look all kind of happy. You're kind of, I don't know, you got a
chipper,
a glow. You've got
bounce in my step.
Yeah, you've got a glow about you.
Well, you know what it is? This is kind of a historic podcast that we're doing right here. Because this will be the final podcast that we do with me wearing a boot on my leg.
And by wearing a boot on your leg, do you mean the end of democracy? Is that a euphemism for that? I mean, what?
You know, it's funny that I do get the boot off on election day, so it'll be interesting, right? I mean, is it going to be symbolic of anything?
I don't know.
I have no idea, but we'll find out. In the meantime, we have a show to do, and it's called Minutia Men.
The following is a Tony Lasano podcast, an Opie production on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. This is Minutia Men with Rick and Dave.
You know, I have noticed in your neighborhood, generally, there's more political signs up. There's not that many political signs in your neighborhood.
No, definitely not. We're a nonpartisan kind of neighborhood.
Are you pretty down the center?
Well, I think, people get angry.
Well, really?
Yeah, people get angry. No. And, I really would rather not be hated by half the neighborhood. Okay. And, no matter what you put out,
right,
half the neighborhood's going to hate you.
And for our Puerto Rican listeners out there, we love you guys. We think your country looks great.
I have been to Puerto Rico. Have you?
I have never been to Puerto Rico.
I spent a night there the night after I got married on our way to our honeymoon.
In St. Kitts?
Our honeymoon was in St. Kitts, but we had a night in San Juan.
Oh, really?
Before that, in Puerto Rico.
It was very nice.
I got food poisoning. But that, I don't want to besmirch the entire, island, but I did get food poisoning there.
So last time we were in Mexico, I mean, this is 25 years ago.
Yeah.
I was so careful about not drinking the water.
Obviously,
right? Yeah, drinking. I did. I brushed my teeth with bottled water.
I did too.
The whole thing, and then like the second day or third day, second to the last day, I had a hamburger, and there was like a little place where you put tomatoes. There was like a little condiment. The tomatoes were probably washed in crappy water, and I ended up the lettuce was, and just really miserable flight home.
Sorry.
And this might come as a surprise to you. I don't really have a robust constitution.
No.
Right.
No. When we were in Champaign a few weeks ago and you got up in the middle of having coffee with your daughters and I have to go to the restroom. You went in the restroom. I said to your daughters, you think he's dropping a deuce? And they're like, yeah, I think he is. So.
When you do it 2-3 times a day, I'm very regular. You know what? We should probably get going here.
Okay, all right.
So this week, Halloween week. Halloween week, right? When this comes out, it'll be the day or 2 days after Halloween. But Halloween's a whole weekend.
You'll still have a bowl of candy in your house that you don't know what to do with.
Right. We always buy the crappy candy.
Yeah.
Too.
Oh, we don't. We get the good stuff.
What do you guys? Are you like?
They are fun sizes, but they're the good stuff.
Okay. My penis is a fun size, by the way. That's what I call it, right?
Okay.
It's fun size.
Okay. Kids, hope you're enjoying the show.
Well, can we edit that?
No, it's fine. It's fine. You are who you are.
So anyways, it's Halloween week coming up, right? And
we don't have any kids listening to this show anyway.
Well, my daughters,
they're not kids.
Yeah, I guess you're right. You're right. So I'm going to Dad's Day weekend this weekend.
Okay.
Because I want to go to U of I every weekend.
It is like 3 weeks in a row.
And the last time I spent Halloween at U of I, we had a bottle thrown at us while we were doing a live broadcast.
I remember that well.
Yeah. So you grew up in a German immigrant home.
I did.
Right. Did your parents really understand the hubbub about Halloween?
Not really.
Right?
No.
Mine kind of got it, but like my mom had trouble getting her head around the concept that, you want to dress up like a cowboy? You're not a cowboy.
Well, no, my dad, it was like, would they just give you candy? Would they split from us because you have a uniform on?
Yeah, right. Well, what kind of uniforms did you have on?
No, don't worry. They were, They were more like cowboy uniforms or hobo.
Yeah, my
it was
mom-
a hobo.
Well, people, little kids would come out. Once you are not an astronaut, you're a little boy. No, she didn't do that. Well, it appears that my mom wasn't the only German who has trouble with the ideals of Halloween.
Yeah.
Okay. There are German comedians.
I know. You sent me this, and
This guy is great. His name is Flula Borg.
His humor is very German. It is very German. That's all I'll say.
And he has a take on Halloween, which we think is brilliant. So,
Yeah.
once we're all set, say,
Here we go.
Yes, it is Halloween, but the only thing that haunts me is this very terrible poem. Trick or treat, smell my feet, give me something good to eat. If you don't, I don't care, I pull down my underwear. If you say, smell my feet, and then say, give me something good to eat, after I have smelled your feet, I will not then give to you something good to eat. I will give to you a soap. Or I will say, no thank you, I will not smell your feet. Who will do this? Why? You think you will give to me your feet to smell, and then I will be so excited that I will prepare a delicious meal for you and give it to you. Oh, and if I don't do this, you also don't care, so you are not invested in receiving the meal anyway. And then you will pull down your underwear. You will expose your genitalia to me because I did not give you some food in exchange for smelling your feet. This is not how the barter system works. I will give you something if I enjoy what you have given me. No one will enjoy... Okay, I will not enjoy smelling your feet. And I will not enjoy it so much that I will give to you rigatoni. Well, like rigatoni. You get it? Nasty.
Wow, that is the most
the
German thing
that you
ever.
could possibly think of.
That
Yeah.
is great. I love it. That guy's name is Flula.
Flula Borg, right?
Flula, yeah. He is actually quite well known as a German comedian
the
because
six of
he's
them
the
that are out
only
there.
one.
That has any success.
That's right. All right, it's time for our final battle of the bands, Dave.
Oh, yeah.
So, last week we decided that some of the Kamala songs and some of the Trump songs
We went third party.
They weren't that great anymore. I did not find a good third party jingle, but I found a couple that are more generic as opposed to ripping of the specific candidates.
Oh, okay.
And I think you'll like these. This first one is a group called Garfunkel and Oates.
Okay.
All right, and they entitled this song that they do Dating a Republican.
Recently, unbeknownst to me, I dated a Republican. Yeah, he told me on our third date, and he said that the problem with us dating would be that he would be embarrassed to introduce me to his family because of our material. So great guy. But the good thing is he had advice on how we could write the kind of songs where both sides can laugh. He kept using that term.
Yeah, both sides can laugh. And he actually had a lot of helpful hints on how to write a song, but he was not a songwriter.
No, he worked at like a Bitcoin type place that wasn't quite Bitcoin, like the Bing of Bitcoin.
But anyway,
That kind of,
we were thankful for his helpful advice, and we took it, and we wrote this song.
Every once in a while you meet a special kind of man. A needle in a haystack, a diamond in a pile of crap. A man who's never written music but thinks he can. A Republican cryptocurrency guy like Dan. Thank you, digital accountant Dan, for explaining how to write a song. I wouldn't have known to choose a topic before you, Dan, you came along. Thanks for telling me to write down my thoughts and send them all to you, so you can make sure it doesn't offend the conservative point of view. You say it's time to pop my liberal bubble and reach across the aisle. Find levity in relatable things that can make the red and blue states smile, because comedy should be inclusive and connect with the other half. It should make us all feel comfortable so both sides can laugh. Well, I'm gonna take your advice, Computer Dan, and write something bipartisan. So here's my song. Don't you hate it when you're liberal and you're stuck in traffic? Now I'm late for my big meeting. Don't you hate it when you're conservative and your in-laws are here. Oh, brother, what's your mother gonna say? Don't you hate it when you're liberal and you lose your glasses? How can I find my glasses without my glasses? Or when you're a conservative and your gun control policies enable constant, senseless, devastating mass shootings. Isn't it great when both sides can laugh? Ha 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 ha.
That's great.
Not bad,
Not bad. I think I know who. It's a blonde lady and a brunette, right? Yeah, I've seen them before.
Garfunkel and Oates is what they're called. All right, so then one
of them is like in a TV show too, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I thought it would be fun then to look for a more generic kind of Republican thing, and without mentioning, any particular candidate, maybe about a topic that is a big subject right now in this election.
So kind of a holistic approach.
Exactly. And this is from a guy named Buddy Brown, sitting in the back of his pickup.
Okay.
I'll just play it for you. Okay. Listen to it.
All my exes change their sexes. She used to be a her, and now she's a he. But all my exes change their sexes. Thank God we broke up back in '03. Rosanna's down in San Francisco, LGBTQ. Sweet Eileen is now called Steve. She looks just like a dude. And Allison takes medicine, transitioned last spring. And Dimples, well, it ain't that simple, fell in love with a drag queen. Oh.
See, get it?
Yeah. I'm going to go with the other ones.
I mean, I just, yeah. It really is, we do kind of have a monopoly on humor on our side, don't we? Which is a bummer for them. I do feel bad for them.
They got Dennis Miller.
They do.
They got Dennis Miller. And they got this, and that Matt Walsh guy.
Yeah.
Did you that movie, Am I Racist?
Yeah.
Wasn't bad.
I didn't watch it.
It was certainly highly
edited. I saw that it was out, but I did not watch it.
It was certainly highly edited, but it was enjoyable, and there was some
humor in it.
Well-placed mockery, let's say. Hey, we got a review here. I feel better about myself after listening to the idiots that MM talks about.
Is that us?
I think MM would. No, it says, I feel better about myself after listening to the idiots that we talk about.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so, good. Good.
And that was from KGL on Potable. So,
well, thank you, KGL. It's time for another feature.
Time now for Studio Walls.
And the words of the prophets were written on the studio walls. Weekend
So this is the part of the show where we dip into the Rick and Dave archives.
Oh.
And answer the phone. Let's see who's this from. Zion, Illinois.
Are you sure that wasn't Zion, Israel? Because we've been making some bad
It was a hotline of some kind. This week in 2001, Dave, just a few weeks actually after September 11th, a very famous film was released called Monsters, Inc.
You know, my kids love Monsters, Inc. And whenever we go to, they always refer to U of I. They go, this is just like Monsters, Inc.
Really?
You know, with all the fraternities and whatever. Yeah.
Well, Monsters, Inc. Is a movie that my boys watched over and over and over and over again. And one of them, Johnny, was 3 years old when it came out. And I was telling John Landecker about this on the phone. And he said, well, you got to have him do a movie review. Of course, a movie review. And so this is 3-year-old Johnny in 2001.
And being that Halloween is tomorrow,
it's
perfectly.
It's probably why it came out this week in 2001. Here's Johnny doing his review of Monsters, Inc.
What is your name, young man?
Johnny.
Johnny. He's a half-pint movie critic, isn't that right?
I have blue and silver and pale.
Yes, you do have blue and shovel and pail on your shirt. That's very nice. Now, what movie did we see, Johnny?
Monsters, Monsters Inc.
And what did you think of it?
Fun, because I wasn't scared of it. I think we can see it again tomorrow. Grover's son, he has a pink nose.
Now, if you had to give it
Okay,
a
he's
rating,
not following
would you give
our
it 1
narrative arc
star,
here.
2 star, 3 stars, or 4 stars? How many stars?
4.
Would you tell all the other kids in the school to go see it?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, brand
A
advocate.
little bit. Now it's Grover's turn.
Grover? Grover, what did you think of the movie?
Fine.
Okay, thanks. That has been the review from...
Sandy Kemper,
And you are the Half Pint Movie Critic.
the half-pint movie critic.
Okay, when was he diagnosed with the personality disorder?
Isn't that great? In the middle of it, he was holding on to this. He was holding on to this Grover doll. In the middle of it, Grover had to review the movie, which I thought was pretty funny. Anyway, there's your little heartwarming.
I loved Monsters Inc. That was one of my favorite
I
of
loved
those.
it too.
I used to love taking the kids to movies up to a point.
Yeah.
When they were like really little and it was still the wonderment of it, it was cool. Then they got kind of jaded a little bit.
Yeah.
They got a little cynical. And then it got really expensive. So
when I took Johnny to Monsters Inc., he was like 4 or 5, or not Monsters Inc., The Incredibles. He was like 4 or 5 years old. And he was so excited. He was standing on his chair in the movie theater, just like, yeah! He was just like cheering it on. Like, I've never seen him happier than he was at that moment.
I think The Incredibles may be my favorite.
Mine too. I think it's in my top 5
of all movies.
movies.
It is so great. Hey, I got a news story, and this actually, I think, will resonate with you.
Okay.
Vatican releases a new mascot.
Oh.
Ahead of the 2025 Jubilee, the Vatican... What is the 2025 Jubilee? Is it like a Catholic Olympics?
I have no idea. I should know that.
There's something happening.
Yeah.
It's the 2025 Jubilee. The Vatican has launched a cartoon mascot unveiled Monday as the cheerful face of the Catholic Church. You know, I got to tell you, when I hear the term cheerful face at Catholic Church, doesn't really, I don't really get is there a connection there?
Yeah.
The mascot named Luce, which means light in Italian, is intended to engage a younger audience and guide visitors through the Holy Year.
Oh, nice.
So evidently this Jubilee thing is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I really should know what that is.
Archbishop Rino Fisichella, the Vatican's chief organizer of the Jubilee, described the mascot as part of the Vatican's goal to engage with the pop culture so beloved by our young people. So they're trying to make inroads.
Sure, of course, yeah.
The mascot will debut this week at the Lucca Comics and Games, which is Italy's celebrated convention for all things comics, video games, and fantasy. So the church is really getting into this stuff, right?
Exactly.
Now, so the mascot, it's like a little girl. She's clad in a yellow raincoat, mud-stained boots, and a pilgrim's cross.
It's not an altar boy?
No.
Okay, it's a girl. All right.
Yeah.
I didn't go that route.
Well,
okay.
And it's don't mention
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Now I got this in my head, and I'm not going to be able to continue here. So basically, it's a little girl. She's in a little raincoat. She's got a glimmer in her eyes. She's got a scallop shell of the Camino de Santiago, an emblem of the pilgrimage journey. I don't know.
Sure, of course, yeah.
So that's all fine and dandy, right? Well, a couple things have not set well with the internet people.
Really?
Okay. First of all, Luce
Yeah.
is the beginning of the word Lucifer.
Oh, great point.
So
Great
they're like,
point.
how could you possibly do this,
Yeah.
Jenkins?
Yeah.
And the way that the font is, it accentuates that first. It can
Okay.
definitely be construed.
So they changed it to Beelzebub?
Right. Belzy. Second of all, you guys have a pretty good mascot with some pretty good brand recognition.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean,
that's a great point.
I mean, why are you?
That's
this
a
is
great
like
point.
This is like, remember when Coca-Cola futzed with Coke and made the new Coke?
Yeah, exactly.
I would stick with the old Jesus and not go with the new Jesus. Right?
Couldn't agree more.
But I think you guys need to take a page from our playbook.
Okay.
You guys need a slogan,
A slogan,
right?
Okay,
Something
yeah.
snappy.
All right.
That you could put on a Huggy or a bumper sticker. We're the chosen people.
Yeah,
Perfect.
that's pretty good.
Right?
That's pretty good.
So what do you guys got? Can you?
Never leave your brother behind.
Okay, again.
No, I probably shouldn't be saying that.
You shouldn't be saying that.
See, I think I'm allowed to as a Catholic.
Well, they could also somehow incorporate other cartoon characters too.
Oh, okay.
Like 101 Damnations.
Not bad.
Judas and the Virgin Cats.
Not bad.
And Scooby Don't. You're gonna go to hell.
I like that one a lot.
Scooby Don't.
Scooby Don't. That's your winner right there. Well, I have a little story for you. I like to peruse the website Smoking Gun.
Oh, it's great.
And they have on that site the riders that bands insist on backstage at their shows,
like the Van Halen ones.
And Now, in the old days, it would be stuff like 8 pounds of cocaine. Right. I want a hooker. I want a black hooker, a white hooker, an Asian hooker. That sort of thing. I got a hold of Taylor Swift's.
Okay.
And this is not. I'm not joking. This is really what she has. This is what she has backstage, actually on her bus. All right, you ready? 1 quart of 2% milk.
Okay, for cereal.
Very nice. A bottle of Welch's grape juice.
Okay.
16-ounce low-fat cottage cheese. 1 bag of Tostito tortilla chips.
Okay.
Butter. 1 jar of Pace picante sauce.
Okay.
Pace, that's like, your most generic kind there is. 2-cup bag of Kraft shredded cheddar cheese.
Okay. And this is stuff that she demands on her bus?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is what they have to provide.
Okay.
3 boxes of Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Okay.
1 bag of shredded lettuce, 1 tomato, 1 avocado, 1 orange, 1 bag of Twizzlers red licorice, 1 case of Smart Water, 1 pint of Ben & Jerry's chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream, and that's it.
That is it.
That's it.
That looks. I would think she would be much higher maintenance, wouldn't you?
Well, it sounds to me like she eats like a 6-year-old.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
right? She's making like tacos,
macaroni and cheese,
tacos and ice cream.
Yeah,
right.
She eats like my son Tommy, who eats very much like this. And then on the weekends, right? That's weekdays.
Okay.
On the weekends, she gets, in addition to those things, she also gets a small tray of vegetables. Here's where this is warm to my heart.
Pickled herring?
A small jar of dill pickles.
Okay.
Dill pickles. A jar of olives. A 1/4 pound of cooked ham luncheon meat.
Okay.
All right. 1/4 pound of chicken breast luncheon meat.
So she's making sandwiches.
Yeah. 1/4 pound of sliced white cheddar cheese and a box of microwave popcorn.
Oh, my God.
I think I could date her.
Absolutely. She sounds like she's just went through a breakup and she's eating, which could very well happen at any point. Right?
But the thing I love about it is it's just like the most generic,
go
white
anywhere.
bread.
Yeah.
Like any girl in America would have something like that on their list.
What's on your writer? Pickled herring.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'd have pickled herring and pickles.
Well, and here's the thing: the pickled herring, it has to be in the wine sauce. I don't like it in the cream sauce.
You canceled 3 shows in
Get that
Brussels.
Cream shit out of here.
Okay. All
right. Cream and fish. No.
Okay. Well, see, mine would be gefilte fish, but it has to be in the jelly broth.
Ooh. Oh, that's bad. But I would have, salami.
Okay, of course.
Yeah. Pickles, of course. And then beer.
What would be the beer?
Oh, I would have to be specific about that, wouldn't I?
Right, because they're going to be like, here's Bud Light.
Yeah. I could say any imported beer.
No,
but then that throws the Mexican beers on there, and does that really count?
No, right?
No, Molson, does that really count?
Right,
no.
Right.
So, I've got to go German beer.
So, what? And you won't be specific; it would just be German beer.
Yeah, I mean, there's no bad German beer.
If you had to pick one, what would it be?
Right now I'm on a Paulaner kick.
Okay,
Paulaner. I also like Hocker Shore. That's Levenbräu.
Hocker Shore. That's that lady who's went viral, right?
That's something a little different.
Okay.
Anyway,
I think I would Guinness.
Okay.
Luminati's Pizza.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yep.
Right. And if I'm doing a show in Tijuana, tough. That's not my problem.
Yeah.
Right. You're gonna have to. You could get it delivered or whatever.
Right.
And anything my wife cooks because she's such a wonderful cook.
Oh my God, I'm gonna choke.
Right. And a poem about my wife.
Yeah, okay. It's time for another feature.
A random name pulled out of Rurik's bowl of brushes with celebrities. Mixture, collection, selection, assemblage, medley, assortment, variety. Time now for Celebrity Potpourri with Rick and Dave.
By the way, now that we know that Michelle actually listens to the show, it's going to be ruined, right? Because now you're going to say a little crap like that before we go to our wacky segments about how much you love your wife and poems and things like that. That's not the way we roll on this show, man. Do you understand what I'm talking about?
I have to go home.
That's a good point.
Now that I know that she's listening.
That's a good point. All right.
And she's well aware of the fun-sized penis, too.
Yeah,
so
that's a good point.
There's no new ground being broken there.
This is an email we received from Pamela. Hey guys, don't know if you're going to mention it this week, but I was very sad to see that Terry Garr died. This just came in this morning. Did either of you ever meet her? I never did.
She was part of my dreams when I was a kid.
Yeah. Oh, I loved her.
Yeah, she was great.
Pamela says here, I never did, but I did meet another person from the cast of Young Frankenstein in the 90s. My sister, because Terry Garr's in Young Frankenstein. Of course. My sister was a makeup artist on the last Cosby show on CBS. She had nothing nice to say about Cosby, but said that Madeline Kahn, who was the wacky neighbor on that show, was one of the nicest people she ever met. On my only visit to the set, my sister introduced me to Madeline, and she was funny, kind, and beautiful. So sad to hear about her cancer diagnosis a few months later. Now both Terry and Madeline are gone, very bummed.
Yeah.
Can you play a scene from the movie that features both of them?
Oh.
From Young Frankenstein. So I did go searching, and I found a scene that involves them. It also includes two others that we don't have with us anymore, and that's Gene Wilder and Marty Feldman.
Yeah.
So all four people in this clip are no longer with us, but it's still funny. Here we go.
I'd like you to meet my assistants, Inga and Igor.
How do you do? How do you do?
This is my financier, Elizabeth.
Oh, I'm so happy to meet you at last.
Financier.
Excuse me, darling. What is it exactly that you do?
Well, I assist Dr. Frankenstein in the laboratory. We have intellectual discussions, and as a matter of fact, we were just having one as you were driving.
What? Igor, would you give me a hand with the bags?
Certainly. You take the blonde, and I'll take the one in the Taven.
Well, you know, I've got a
Marty Feldman.
I've got a connection with Gene Wilder.
You do?
Well, family friends, Ruth and Ada Hershaw.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Ada Hershaw was family friends. That was like the only friends my parents really had. And she was related to Gene Wilder, like a sister-in-law by marriage or something.
Okay. Wow.
That's it.
Did you ever meet him?
No.
Oh,
That's
okay.
right. So I'm just saying that.
Well,
6 degrees of Gene Wilder.
That's better than nothing.
Right. But not as good as the story then.
Well, we have people to thank. We need to thank the executive producer, Tony Lasano, with Opie Shows. So thank you, Tony. We have to thank Ed Silla with the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Great Talk Radio isn't dead. It just moved to a better place with RadioMisfits.com. And we'll be back again next week.
Well, let's see what happens on Tuesday.
I'm not going to tell you what country we're going to be calling. We're going to be doing the show from, but we will be doing a show, and I will not have a boot on.
Okay.
And so I will just be floating.
Perhaps maybe you'll be drinking out of a boot.
I might be drinking out of a boot.
It could be Germany that we might be in.
Anyway, next week there will be another episode of
Minutia Man.
The proceeding was a presentation of the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Find our other great shows on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and at RadioMisfits.com. Thank you.
This has been a presentation of Opie Productions.
Tony, can you shut up?